You know that moment when someone lets you take a creative risk? For me, it came from Daft Punk, with just 2 words, like robots. That's how they said everyone photographed them. And that's when I knew I had to do something different. This isn't just a story about photographing Daft Punk. It's a story about creative risk and about trusting your instincts, especially when you're working with people who are used to complete control. It's also about how some of your best work may sit unseen for years until the moment is right. And when it finally is, it can change everything. Daft Punk at the time were already cultural icons. Their whole image was built around mystery, the robots, the helmets, the myth. As a photographer, when you get asked to shoot someone like that, the expectation is clear. Play the game, shoot the helmets, reinforce the story. But I couldn't shake the feeling that those images, as slick and perfect as they were, weren't telling the story I needed to tell. So I decided to ask. I said to them, "How does everyone usually shoot you?" They didn't hesitate. "Like robots," they answered. So I pushed. "Well, what if I don't do that? What if I photograph you like 2 people just hanging out?" There was a pause. These are artists who control their image. They control everything. I thought I'd just talk myself out of the shoot. But then they said yes. And the truth is, they were kind. They let me work the way I needed to. No pressure, no control, just trust. I appreciated that more than they probably knew. Now I had to follow through. I had to photograph Daft Punk like no one else had at the time. But the truth is, I didn't even have a clear plan. Everything happened so fast. The call, the setup, the shoot. I didn't have time to obsess over gear. I had a digital camera in my bag as usual, but what I reached for was the Polaroid and the Rolleiflex. At first it wasn't some grand artistic decision, it was instinct. Maybe even a little panic. But the second I picked them up, I knew this is how to shift the energy. Digital invites control, review, correction. Film demands presence, trust. I'm mostly a digital photographer, but for this I took the risk to go with film. And that wasn't just a creative preference, it came from experience. On a past job, I remember I deleted a photo during the shoot, just something I didn't think worked. But someone on set had snapped a photo of my screen before I deleted it. Later, the art director saw that photo that the stylist shot with her phone days later, and that's the one they wanted. So I was so pissed off. It felt like losing control of my own judgment. The tools I was using at the time had turned the process into something open, something debatable. That's not what I wanted, not this time. So with Daft Punk, I eliminated that possibility completely. No screens, no laptop, no hovering, just the subject, the moment, the image. The Rolleiflex was just to double up and have a backup. A twin-lens medium format camera, mechanical and unforgiving. I also brought a newspaper along, some rubber tubing, a vintage 60s flash generator that worked, props that could be used or ignored, just enough to shift the tone, disrupt the expectation a bit. We started right away, and immediately I could feel it. No hovering, no corrections, just flow. I shot a lot of Polaroids. The images felt alive. Just 2 people, not robots, not poses, just presence. There was this moment I pulled out that vintage flash generator, and for a second they just stared. Then one of them picked it up and said, "This is cool." I figured that old flash generator could be in the photos as well. They could be like moths, attracted to the bright light, like robot moths. I also shot some color film on the Rolleiflex. Incredible detail, amazing tonality, depth. But it was the Polaroids that carried the heartbeat, that energy, that sort of looseness. A few of these pictures were published, most weren't. And that's part of working with artists like this. It's not always about what's best. It's about timing, approval, strategy. And here's where the story takes an interesting turn, or a frustrating one, depending on how you look at it. Those Polaroids, they went into a box, and they sat there for years. Years passed, and every so often I'd open that box and think, well, these are still good. And that's the thing no one tells you. Sometimes your best work doesn't find its place for years. Sometimes it waits for years to see the light. And sometimes you just have to wait until you're dead. So fast forward to recently. I was in Paris and I had that box with me. I showed the Polaroids to a gallery. No pitch, no presentation, just honesty. Here are some pictures I shot with Daft Punk, and it's completely different from everything else you've seen. They understood they were looking at something unique. They immediately proposed an exhibition. And then they said, what about a book? I was completely surprised. Then we started talking about something even bigger, because I've also shot other artists, some surf, even Formula One, all on Polaroids. So suddenly, what sat in a box for years, a work made from instinct, was now finding a home. If I had played it safe, none of this would have happened. No exhibition, no book discussion, no second life for these Polaroids. But this experience taught me something fundamental. The most important creative decisions happen when you choose to do something unexpected. As artists, we're always choosing between what's expected and what's possible. And the work that truly moves people often comes from risk. And sometimes your best work has to sit in a box for years. But if you don't take the risk in the first place, that box will never exist. So what's the takeaway from all this? For me, it's about the power of seeing your subjects as complete human beings, not just as images they project into the world. Have you ever had a creative breakthrough that came from doing the unexpected, or made something you had to wait years to share? Tell me in the comments. I'd love to hear. And if you want more behind-the-scenes stories like this, more thoughts on photography, creativity, and process, hit subscribe, tap the bell, join me for the next one. Thanks so much. I appreciate you watching.